Patch 1.5 contains a couple of balance changes that are originally slated for patch 1.6 as a part of Riot's normal kind of monthly balance changes that we've expected to see. They saw an opportunity to quickly turn around a few key changes and give us an insight into the changes to expect in the future. This video will look at the balance changes we can expect now and in the short term future. Pilfered Goods has had its cost increase from 2 to 3. Riot tend to measure the overall success of mechanics and individual cards through a number of different ways, including balance of promotion of skill and fun for both players, for example. Whilst NAB is a core component to several Bilgewater decks, it can be extremely frustrating when players are seeing this all the time due to its power level. Basically, they think NAB is a bit too common, and it'll be healthier for Legends of Runeterra if it's a bit less of a top competitive mechanic for Bilgewater. The aim of this nerf is to reduce the efficiency of the most draw heavy NAB cards, with their goal is to retain Pilfered Goods' potential in a dedicated archetype with this draw synergy, like Plunder and Allegiance for example, whilst generally making it less generic and widely powerful in decks that don't really revolve around this. So this means if you want to use Pilfered Goods optimally, you will have to build the deck to use its Plunder and NAB mechanic. I think this will be a really welcome change, and it'll have a medium level of impact on the card, and I think you will see it less kind of generically thrown into random decks now, which I'm quite a big fan of. Solitary Monk has had its power decrease from 4 to 3. Its base stats and keyword were up there in the strongest in the game, and it had an appropriately interesting drawback, which is the recall of all your cards, to kind of craft your deck around, basically making it thrive almost like Pilfered Goods in decks specifically for it. For example, when you summon Omen Hawk, you can summon it multiple times using Solitary Monk. So when Solitary Monk is used effectively, she's a threat that both pushes damage and defense above her cost threshold, whilst her recall ability can get mitigated and turned into a benefit. Riot saw this raw power used too effectively in too many decks, so they've chosen to adjust her damage output rather than her utility, to focus on more dedicated strategies. So this is a similar strategic nerf to Pilfered Goods, as I said, and will not actually impact elusive decks too hard, but rather impact decks that randomly stick her in there simply because she was a high powered elusive. I don't think this nerf will be too impactful and will have a welcome effect, helping drop the win rates of elusive decks that we're seeing so much of at the moment. Riot also give us a watch list section of some of the buffs and nerfs they are monitoring closely, but in this time in fact they basically told us a preview of what to expect next patch. They're planning to implement adjustments to some of Heimerdinger's associated cards, so basically his bots. I have a feeling this will impact the MK3 floor Begon in some way due to its impact in the Heimervi control deck that is very popular at the moment. Riot are planning to rework discard units to increase their satisfaction and playability. This will adjust cards like Rummage, and this will also greatly benefit Jinx, who does not see much play at the moment. Jinx's most played deck is the Jinx Twisted Fate draw deck, which has an absolutely dire win rate of 41.1%. This is a very much welcome change, and I'd love to see what can be done with her. Burn aggro decks are still seeing very high win rates, and Riot plan to adjust this with the Nexus damage dealt through cheap units. This could impact champions like Boom Crew Rookie and Legion Saboteur. Following the addition of the Gauntlets mood last patch, labs are something they're introducing, and it's going to be a more experimental game mood. So where Gauntlets are aimed at the more competitive experience, labs are all about variety, experimentation, and a little bit of chaos in Riot's own words. The first lab is going to basically be ARAM, and this is actually going to be available in patch 1.5. So this features unexpected champion matchups and unpredictable outcomes. So how it's going to work? So rather than building a deck, you're going to make choices on random selection of champions when the game starts. The champions you choose at the start in your hand will generate a deck for you to pilot against your opponent's equally random creation. I personally cannot wait to try this, and I'll see if I can try and do a guide on this to have some sort of structure and strategy. So starting with this patch, Riot are updating the Vault unlock timings to put it more safely after the patch timing. So what does this mean? This means that the Vault unlock timing is going to be moved from Tuesday to Thursday, and this week's vault duration. So as of the 7th of July, it's going to be extended to 9 days for this 1 week only to help make this transition. So you've got no excuse to get absolutely maximum chests this week. So that is it for the big changes. The small changes are just minor bug fixes and cloud characters. So what I want to know from you is, do you think these changes will actually impact the meta? Thank you very much guys, and I'll see you next time.